where do you want to buy a home? Today, we're going to go over the 9 basic steps of home buying, and we're going to talk about the out-of-pocket costs that are going to be associated with buying a home. Now, my step 1 in the buying process is different than what most people will say is step 1. Most real estate agents don't want to talk to a potential home buyer until that buyer is pre-approved for a mortgage loan. So they'll say that step 1 is pre-approval. I think that's wrong, and here's why. Getting pre-approved for a loan can be freaking confusing, and I don't want you to have to do that alone. So this is why I say that step 1 to buying a home is to contact a local real estate agent and ask them to introduce you to some good local lenders. I am always happy to do an initial consult call with a home buyer to find out what their goals are, where they're at, and then get them connected with a local lender who can take them on to that next step. Which brings me to step 2, actually getting that pre-approval. There are some common misconceptions about getting pre-approved that I'd like to address right up front. No, it does not cost anything to get pre-approved. And no, getting pre-approved should not hurt your credit. When you go through the pre-approval process, the lender will need some documentation from you. Basically, they'll be collecting this documentation to verify these 5 things: who you are, where your income comes from and how much you make, what your monthly debt obligations are. They'll verify what funds you have for a down payment and closing costs, and your credit score. Now, if the thought of talking to a lender gives you anxiety because you don't think you'll be able to get pre-approved, you are not alone, I promise. So many people feel this way, and it's totally okay to feel that way. I know that I did. Here's the thing. When you talk to a good lender, they're not just going to give you a black and white yes or no answer. They're going to explain to you all of your options. And if they can't pre-approve you right now, they will be able to help you make a plan so that you'll know with confidence that you're working towards being able to get a loan and buy a home. Okay, now on to step 3. Once you do have that pre-approval and are feeling really comfortable with your budget, you'll come in to meet with me for an official buyer consultation. This is where we go in depth about you, your needs, and what you're looking for in a home. We'll also talk about the current market conditions. It is super important that your agent helps you understand the current market and what conditions are like for buyers when you're buying. We'll also look at current listings and recent sales that fall within your budget to help you set some expectations of the types of homes that you'll be able to shop for. And I'll give you some tips for smart home shopping, like what to do about new construction, open houses, and homes for sale by owner. Moving on to step 4. This step is the most fun, I think, and that is actually getting out and going to look at homes. This part can also be a little bit hectic because once a home comes on the market that fits within your criteria, you typically need to make time to go see it ASAP. So during this home shopping process, make sure to keep an eye on your emails and text messages for any new listings to pop up. And then text your agent as soon as you see one that you want to schedule a showing for. Step 5 is making an offer. We'll look at market data and recent comparable sales, and I'll chat with the listing agent to find out if they have other offers and what this seller is particularly looking for. We'll take all of this info and I will help you put together an offer. Sometimes you get a response to an offer within the same day, and sometimes you could be left waiting for a few days. It just depends. If your offer is accepted, we celebrate, and then we move on to step 6, which is your first out-of-pocket expense. It's called the earnest money deposit, or initial deposit. This is typically 1 to 3% of the purchase price, and it's due by the 3rd business day after your offer is accepted. This deposit is part of your down payment and closing costs. So for example, if your lender told you you'd need to have about $30,000 for your down payment and closing costs, and your initial deposit is $5,000, then at close of escrow, you'll just need to bring in the remaining $25,000. Another out-of-pocket expense that you'll have during this time soon after you get an offer accepted is the appraisal fee. Always check with your lender, but this typically costs about $500. Step 7 is inspections and maybe negotiations. The part of the escrow where you do all of your due diligence to make sure this is actually the home you want to buy. I always suggest that my buyers get as many inspections done as they need to feel really comfortable with the condition of the home. And this is your next out-of-pocket expense. You should plan on spending a few $100s on inspections, maybe even up to $1,000 or more, depending on the home and how many and what type of inspections you do. And trust me, it is so worth it to spend a few $100 on inspections that may prevent you from having to spend tens of thousands on costly home repairs. Once all of your inspections are done, you can do one of 3 things. Choose to move forward with the purchase of the property if you're satisfied with the condition, ask the seller to make repairs, offer you a credit, or reduce the purchase price based on things you may have found in the inspections. Or third option, if you've determined at this point that this is not the home you want, you can cancel the escrow. So assuming we've now moved past step 7, we're on to step 8, which is closing escrow. As we get close to closing day, you'll schedule a time to sit down and sign all of the loan and title documents with a notary. They'll also let you know what the remaining cash to close is, which is your down payment and closing costs. Once escrow closes, we move on to step 9, definitely the most exciting part, getting your keys. Sometimes this doesn't happen right when escrow closes, which is why it has its own step. Often, home sellers need a few days after escrow closes to get their sale proceeds so that they can then close escrow on their next home and get moved out. There's this time period called a seller in possession period, which is the time between close of escrow and when you get keys. Well, there you have it. Those are the complete 9 steps to buying a home. I hope you found this video helpful. If you ever have any questions about buying a home in Butte County, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And if you're ready to schedule that initial consult call with me, it's super easy. Just click the link and pick a time. I can't wait to hear from you.